All right, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. I'm really excited. Oh, I'll spotlight myself too, so it's not just. Thank you guys so much for being here. Amber, thank you so much for joining us. I'm
Yeah.
really thankful that you would take the time to come and talk to us because I think, excuse me, one of the things that when you shared at conference, it was so valuable. It was
Oh, thank
so
you.
valuable. And I think people are incredibly inspired because you came, you haven't been here that long. You really haven't. And the fact that you're running such high customer numbers, and you're doing it from a heart and a place that really resonates with where we are as an organization. And I think for so many people right now, their goal is to increase that customer number that and for some it's just moving past to that 30 to that 35 to that 40 because they know the difference that the income level is going to make for them. And I feel like there's so many things that you shared on stage that were incredibly valuable when it comes to both mindset and tactically how you can do it. And I know from being someone who spoke on stage that I could have gone for like an hour. And
Yeah.
so much I didn't get to share. And so I think one of the things is that, and like I said, I have your slides if you want to pull any of those up, but I think being able to hear from you in terms of, we talked about trust and consistency were two of the main things and where to be consistent. And I think being able to take some of those pieces and if there are things that you want that you are like, okay, this is what I didn't get to say because I think that trust is important to everybody here, but it's building that trust and then those consistent actions and even like specific things that um that you know what I mean that you would love for people to know as they're continuing to work to build that customer base. And a lot of people who have been here a long time are in a place where they feel a little stuck in terms of
Mhm.
that. And I think hearing your perspective would just add so much. So first, I'm just going to let you kind of share what, whether you want to reiterate or whether like guys listen, I told Amber not to prepare anything because she's jumping out with us in the middle of the summer, so I'm going to be asking her questions, but feel free to post questions in the comments as well so that she has an opportunity to answer those. And then also I have some too, but I'd love to just give you the stage to just share as you think about what you shared on stage and what whether you reiterate or add in some things you that they made you cut to fit in your time slot.
Yeah, no, that is so true. I know we were like going back and forth with each other, like, what do we cut out because we want to share so much? But yeah, I mean, first of all, like, thanks for letting me share on this call because I'm so new and I feel like I have so much to learn and I could probably learn so much more from all of you than you could learn from me. But I hope that if anything I share today is helpful, I hope that it is. But yeah, so on stage, I shared about personal sales and increase in your personal sales because I guess for me, the reason that this has been a focus, like kind of was my first focus coming to Shackley, was because I saw the potential of how much income I could make and how much my team could make through personal sales alone. One of the reasons I chose Shackley was because I truly wanted to be able to recruit the everyday person and believe that they could create significant income for their family, whether they wanted to build a team or not, or they were ready to do that or not. Because I was like, there's just a lot of people that that's just not their thing, or they're burnt out from trying to do that. And they're like, well, if I can't build a team, I can't make a lot of money. And so for me, that was like, whoa, I can help people, not that it's going to happen overnight, but I can help them earn significant income. And when I saw that you could essentially earn $4,000 a month when you sell $10,000 worth of products to customers, I was like, that's actually attainable. And the reason why I thought that was because I always like to bring whatever we're doing kind of, obviously we have online stores, but I like to bring it like in person, like kind of that analogy of like in person. And so in my mind, I was like, well, gosh, if we were to open up a Shackley store, brick and mortar store, and we were downtown in some town, small town, big town, I don't care. Like, I'm confident that if we were sharing things the right way and people were coming into our store, that we could help at least 30 people get started with Shackley or order Shackley a month, which is the minimum to hit that 10,000 tier. You need to be helping at least 30 people. Actually, Harper, could you pull that up, that slide up? Maybe that visual would help. But so for me, that's why I decided to start with personal sales because I was like, I just feel like no matter if you have a social media following or not, we can all find that many people to help through Shackley. And how cool would that be if we were all earning $4,000 a month just in that piece? And then maybe that would give us the confidence to focus more on the recruiting side. So that's kind of how our team started because that's just where we were all at, like very burnt out from recruiting. So yeah, this one slide has it. It's like it's in the compensation plan where it talks about the different, it like shows the different tiers. Actually, you know what, Harper, that one might be, I think there's one in the beginning and one at
I
the
know
end.
exactly where it is. I've been having all these issues with Canva and it's taking a minute to pull it up.
Oh
I'll give
no,
it.
I get it. I know. But yeah, I'll just keep talking. No rush. But yeah, so I was just like really that inspired me. Now, looking at the 10,000 a month felt very overwhelming to me. But looking at the number of people, that fires me up because I'm really like, to be honest with you guys, I wouldn't consider myself a business person. Like the whole numbers and sales and hitting goals, like I can wrap my head around that if I feel like there's a deeper purpose to it and if I feel like I'm really helping people. So when I focus on the number of people to help, then I'm like, okay, we can all do this, like we can figure this out. So that's really where our team has been is just focusing on helping people get started with their products. Not that we don't recruit too, we focus on that too. But I just feel like especially for people that are wanting to like how do you earn the money the fastest right now at Shackley? I believe it's through personal sales. In this environment where people are still kind of trying to decide, do I trust network marketing right now? Don't I? So really what I shared on stage was like, how do we do that? How do we connect in a way that people trust us to buy products? And what is our team doing to have success? Because what I shared is like some slides, and maybe we can share those too, just like slides of
I'm
regular
trying. I am
people,
having all kinds of issues with Canva, and
Oh yeah.
every time I go
No.
to pull them up, they are
It
logging.
is
I'm
it is
working on it. We're gonna get
it's
there.
not a big deal. Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there eventually. But yeah, what I shared was just like, regular people. When I say regular, I don't mean like they're just regular people. I mean like people that didn't have, because I've been a leader at another company. Like I came from body. So I think people would be like, well, yeah, it makes sense. Like she's selling a lot of products. And it's not very inspiring, to be honest. But I think what's more inspiring is when someone who has never done network marketing before, or they don't have a big social media following, when we see those sorts of people having success, because it inspires us to believe that really anyone can have success if they're willing to work hard. So, what's been really cool with our team is that we have just really been focusing on increasing our personal sales month by month. And so I'm telling my girls, like, listen, you don't have to get 10,000 in a month or two. It's going to take you some time. But every month, just try to increase your personal sales by a little bit. And that's really, really what we've done is just like trying to beat their best, not comparing themselves, to other people on the team, because comparison is like the thief of joy, right? But just really going, okay, how can I just increase a little bit every month? And so what's cool at Shackley, which Harper talked about, is the whole retention piece, is just like such a joy here because people really love the products. And I think if we can talk about how they can expand, how they can use the products. So, really, our strategy with sales has been to get them in on even one thing at Shackley. And so for me, it's the meology. And I think we all probably have products that we're just like, this is my jam. This is what I love to share about. I'm like so passionate about it. And so I would just say lead with whatever that is. That's what I tell my girls to do. Like, it doesn't have to be meology. Maybe for you, it's something else that you're the most passionate about. That's the beauty of having such a big catalog. Um, but what's really cool is like once you get what we have found anyways, like once we're getting them in the door with one thing, then we talk about non-toxic swaps. Okay, you started here. Now you can do this in your house and this in your house. But when it comes to like feeling stuck or feeling like, how do I kind of expand my network? How do I get the word out to more people besides the people that I've already been talking to over and over? I think that really comes down to how we're sharing on social media. So that was another thing that I chatted about was just how do you come across as authentic on social media? Because I think we all have the best, everyone has the best intentions. Like we all just want to share these products that we love, but oftentimes what I see out there is people that are just sharing graphics of Shackley products. Like they're posting that to their Facebook group or their Facebook wall or whatever feed. And so maybe they're sharing something like, free shipping in 2 days only, or they're sharing like a graphic about the new vitamin C serum. And again, they mean well. They're not trying to just be salesy, but it does come across like very salesy when if you go to your feed and you just see graphic after graphic after graphic, oh yay, awesome, we got it. That
Okay.
becomes like white noise. So, okay, can you go to slide
I
five?
can't
Yeah, that was the
I
one.
can't click the present to open it up. Canva has
Oh no,
hated
no, 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 that's
me,
perfect.
so
I have never figured that out either yet. On Zoom, it doesn't ever work for me either. But no, this is perfect. Yeah, so that's the one I was talking about where it's like, gosh, you look at the 10,000 and it's like, holy moly, that's a lot. But then you look at the people and you're like, okay, 30 people. Now, I'll be honest, usually for me when I hit 10,000, it's more than 30 people. It's more like 50 to 60 people. It just
same.
depends kind of what your average, is that how you are too, Harper?
Yep. Hmm.
It just kind of depends on, the average order, things like that. Now, if I run a skincare event, that's like doesn't take quite as many people or something like that. But in general, right, it's like more people. But even that, even 50, 60 people, if you had a brick and mortar store over time, sure as heck you would believe 60 people like would come through your store and buy something. And so the same thing is definitely true, online is that we just want to remember that we can have an abundance mindset. There's plenty of people to shop with us. It's just how do we really get them in the door? So yeah, if you want to click through these next slides, these are the girls that I was telling you about, where it's like just kind of shares what they're at. So Nicole, she had never done network marketing before at all. And she's, every month in the 20% tier. And she's one that she's like, I will never recruit. I never want to work this business. I just want to sell the products. And then what happened after conference is she just onboarded a new ambassador. So this does like start to get them thinking like that. And then Susan is amazing too. She's, 64 years old, crushing this business just sharing products that she loves, but she is so consistent. And I think for her, that is her superpower. And I would highly encourage you guys to follow all these girls on Instagram because they will leave you inspired, feeling like you can like just have little things that they might share, little nuances that you'll get ideas from. But Susan is one of those people that I don't know how she does it, but every month she is bringing in new people. And she does not use her age as an excuse, which I really am inspired by with her because she's like, I'm going to show the world that even if you're a little bit older, like you can build this business. And so she's awesome. Cassie is the next one. Yep, right there. She is in a different stage of life where she has two toddlers, but she really shares like authentically where she's at emotionally. Like for her, mental health is a huge thing. And so she doesn't shy away from sharing, like if she's having a tough day, if she's working through anxiety, depression, like she'll kind of share that stuff. And I think that's really what builds trust. So, like, what I have found is that all of the people who are crushing personal sales, you would go and look at their Instagram and the first thing would be you would not think that Shackley was their first thing. Like, and that's really I think the key is that we don't want people to open up our profile and go, "Oh, she sells Shackley." Like I wish it was that easy. I wish we could like just Shackley everything on everything. But the reality is when people open up your Instagram and they only see Shackley, they're gonna be like not likely to follow you. Like that's just I don't know how you guys are where you're out there, but like if I'm on Instagram and I go to someone's profile and I see that like it's just full of what they sell, I am like, not really want to follow her. But if I see that they're sharing value, they're sharing wellness tips, they're sharing mom life, they're sharing motherhood, I'm much more likely to follow. So I think in terms of growing a bigger network, that's one thing that's really been on my heart lately. It's what would we share about online if we were not attached to Shackley? Like, set Shackley aside. What content would you want to produce that would bring you joy? For me, it's definitely like motherhood stuff. Like, I love sharing mom life. I love sharing the real behind the scenes stuff. I sprinkle in how I'm trying to be healthy as a mom. But I wouldn't say that like I want to be defined by Shackley because like what my hope when I post is that and I not that I don't have any posts about Shackley, I do, but what I have found to be most successful to attract new people is when they start following me and then later on they're like, "Oh, you sell Shackley?" Like it's sort of like, "Oh, you do that too?" Because they see me as more than just Shackley. So I think that's what Cassie does well. That's what a lot of these women do well. Like I said, not that they don't share anything, but it's not one big ad that you'll see, on their feed. If you go
So,
to the next
Amber,
one,
a couple questions on this, like
yeah,
just going back. So, do you find that there is more, because okay, so these ones are really good. If you look like these people have closer to the number of followers that we do, and they're
yeah.
in the 35% here. Here's what I want to ask though. So, do you find Instagram to be more profitable than Facebook?
Yeah, I would say that the majority of my sales and the majority of like I know these girls' sales and then Katie's in the 10,000 tier, they are mostly through Instagram stories. So we like, and not that we have loads of people reaching out to us. It's more how do we use the people that are watching our stories? How do we engage with them behind the scenes? So like,
Let's talk what okay, let's talk about that, that engage them behind the scenes too, but I want to go back and ask one more question.
yeah,
Um, so for a lot of our people, it's it's that they need to post more about Shackley. It's
okay.
do you know what I mean? So some people, I feel like there are definitely some people who are like, yeah, I probably should share more about other things. But
Yeah.
there's also people where I know you talked about in the consistency,
Mhm.
how you, I feel like even sharing, like, how do you, when you're attracting clients, they're following you for other reasons.
Right.
But whether it's, I see, on here homeschool moms and pastors' wives and toddler moms and teachers and, grandmas and lots of different people on here who have a lot of things, very valuable things to share. So how do they make sure to weave in Shackley enough where people even know their store is open? Like, do you know
Mhm.
what I mean? Like there is a balance. And what do you feel like? How do you talk about what the balance is? Because obviously these people aren't just talking about motherhood and people are like, but do you sell vitamins? Can I buy some? Like, and so how do you often fit that in to that piece so that it is moving forward in terms of building to the 35% tier like these girls?
Yeah, that's such a great question. And I think that it's really an art to kind of figure out how to do that. It takes practice because on one hand, if you talk too much about Shackley, they don't listen. But then on the other hand, if you don't talk about it at all, they have no idea you even have a business. So it is that balance. What we typically say, and I'm not going to say we're perfect at this, but in general, what I'm trying to recommend for our team, especially those that are getting started, is like 2 posts a week. And this is one thing I talked about too. 2 posts a week are call to action posts about Shackley. So every other post during the week, ideally we're posting every day, but like mom life, that doesn't always happen, right? Like it's not perfect. But like if you're posting on Instagram, ideally 2 times a week to your feed is what we have found to be the most successful because then people are able to like stories disappear, right? But like those posts stay so that people can kind of get a glimpse of like, okay, she's got this life going on, but then, oh, this is Shackley, this is a business, whatever. So I think that consistency of 2 times a week. So what we do is we have 2 nights a week, Monday and Thursday, where we call them lead generator nights. So we're all posting a call to action, um, whether that's about like a product or an event or recruiting. And so then when we're posting our call to actions, We share our links like in our chats on Facebook, on our team chats, and then we go and love on each other's posts. But essentially, a lead generator post is just a post that's generating leads. Will they buy right now? Maybe not, but like it's trying to have specific calls to action so that people know that you are open to business. So I oftentimes will just like craft a like call to action, or I'll be like, hey, this is what I'm sharing tonight. If you want to, just to give you an idea, this is a call to action. Because I also think the calls to action that we use are so important because I found that if you're just like, reach out to me if you want more info, that's just not effective because no one, it feels too overwhelming. They're just not going to do that. But if you're like, comment this word for more info or send me a message or, just it has to be a strong call to action at the end so that they know that you're asking for something. And even still, I'm not like, you get lucky once in a while where like, you'll get people to comment. But for the most part, those posts don't have any responses. And I think that's what these two would tell you too, is like, don't get Brittany and Meredith, like, don't get discouraged if you do these calls to action and no one cares, because it still is something that's going to be on your feed for people to go back to later. But just getting in that habit is important. But then beyond that, I really think that the most important piece to be consistent is in your stories.
Yeah,
That like I
let's talk
said,
about that for sure. And then one question that was in the chat was are all is everybody's Instagram profile public?
yeah, I really encourage people to do it public because it's just sort of like I like this analogy. Let's say you were to open up a business. Would you decide to open up your business in a gated community where no one can get in unless they have a secret code or know you? Or would you decide to put it in, like I said, downtown? And just the amount of people that are going to see your stuff, like you really are like this might be tough love, but I just think you're gonna put so much work in to have a private Facebook or to have a private Instagram, and you're gonna wish that it was public, like just with how much more traction you can get if it's public. And you can say like if people are nervous about putting their kids or whatever, I'm like, all right, like I would love for you to use your existing account because you have connections there. I very rarely have people open up a new account. Because I want them to use their connections. But I was like, but if that's like gonna hold you back, start a new account. Be very careful what you share about with your kids, right?
I I put like the way that I do it is, and I am working to grow on Instagram. Facebook, I feel much more confident in. I have to be like, oh right, post this on Instagram too. But but on Instagram, I definitely put less of my kids, which does make it challenging though on Instagram. Amber, I'm curious what you do because so much of my non-Shackley posts can be centered around my kids. And so even working to take pictures that don't show their faces or whatever it is. And sometimes I will put them in stories. I feel more comfortable putting them on stories. But I feel like, but on Facebook, I post lots more pictures of my kids because it's private than I do on Instagram. And so, but I think that that's really important too, because even what I found is that some of the people on our team who keep their Instagrams private, they would get a lot more traction because a lot of us would share their amazing stuff. Like they have a great reel and we'd share it. And then if the more it's shared, the more Instagram shows it. And so again, do you feel like a lot of your because I feel like Facebook is great. I've had super success with Facebook with people that I know in person, then them
Hmm.
getting to know me better in on social media and what I do. And so, but on Instagram, I feel like you open up, like you said, to the people that you don't know necessarily who are following you for different reasons, and it just opens up um your like you said, like it takes you from being like a business you run out of your house to a business that's downtown at a shop where people can walk by. So Christine, did you have a question?
Yeah, I have a question. Like my kids actually don't want me to post them. Like whenever I take a picture, they ask me like, "Please don't post this, mom." So for me, like I have two teenagers, I have two the little ones don't mind, like they don't care, like my littler ones, but to me it's like so I try to get like just pictures of our family kind of like doing things, but my kids really don't want to be posted and I want to respect that. Like but I still want to share what our family does And so I'm trying to like walk that line. And I know a lot of us probably have that happening with our kids. I respect my kids. I feel bad that their whole life is documented online and they had no choice about that, you know? And so for me, it's like this fine line because if we had a brick and mortar store, no one would be seeing our kids every day. I mean, they'd come in and see us and say, hey, but I love having that heart to heart deep connection where moms can connect to me and like know me well. And so I'm really trying to like be authentic and be me and like share our life, but be very respectful of my children. And
Mhm.
so, and I have a public Instagram, but I don't share my kids really on there at all. I just put like me and my husband and things we're doing. So I just want to hear what you think of that because it is a hard line to walk and I am not willing to sacrifice what my kids are asking me for to get more people to buy from me. So that's what yeah, Tiffany said same here. So I really,
Yeah,
and
I
I'm
have the
not like a
same
social
thing.
queen, you know, I'm just kind of
Mhm.
learning and sharing.
We have the same thing, Christine, where my kids will be like, don't post that, or like check with me before you post a picture, or
Yes. I think it's the teen once they're teens. And because then we're out and about and like some of my members will be like, Johnny, I saw you did your guitar. And he's like, Mom, why are you sharing my life? Like they don't want me to do it. So it's like a very, I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. My kids are just getting to that too, like where they're just like if I take a picture, don't post that. Like I totally get that. Now, I will tell you what like the conversation I had with them though. I said I want to explain to you why I'm posting because I want you to understand that our family is on this mission to help people impact their lives in a healthier way. And I want you to know that I would never share anything without, like I do, I ask for my kids' permission before I share. But I also say, I'm like, this is how our family earns income. This is our livelihood. And by you letting me share, it allows me to connect with other moms who might be going through the same things that we are. And, since I had that conversation with them, like I will say they're more open to it and they understand because I told them, I said, it is such a huge blessing that I get to do this business from home. You don't understand how many moms every day have to go into an office and I'm gonna like start crying, but like have to go into an office because they don't get to do this. And so I know every mom is different and I've had to navigate that for sure. But I also have always believed like God has called me to this. And so I also have to trust like that sharing our lives online, like I know that there is some risk involved, but from my experience, there's like more blessing in sharing our lives than not. But I do think it's important to like, bring your kids into that conversation so they don't think it's just like, oh, mom's just showing me like embarrassing things about me. Like
I
I
love that,
don't,
Amber. Yeah, I have had that combo with them. My 16-year-old, she does not care. Like they don't care. I mean, they care that I've built a business and they love that I can homeschool them and they love all the things, but they still don't want me to share about them. So it is. It's just, and I do like when they're playing baseball, I'll just do it where it's not their face. It's just
yeah,
them
yeah,
playing. So I just have to, I know it's hard because I've had all those conversations and I think they get it, but I think the teenage brain can't truly understand
right.
what we've built, like, and how
Yeah,
hard, like, how much work and effort goes in. So I appreciate you so much. It's just it's hard. It's
it's
nice for us
hard.
to have each other because that is a really hard journey once they're 13 to 18 and it's like they get it but they still don't fully get it.
Right, right.
I,
Yeah, no, that's so true.
and Christine, I mean, I don't know if you guys do anything like this, but we put money aside for our kids, and it's like us paying them. But it's been a long term,
Yes.
and part of that is modeling. We call part of that modeling, like because do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So they are
Yeah.
getting
I
like,
I like that.
but I'm also very cautious. Again, I think having the balance of like not posting a picture that would embarrass them or not, there are certain things I don't post as my kids get to be older, but also and again, like some pictures, well, I'll take a picture and it won't show their face or things like that. And I think finding that balance, because it is like you said, it is valuable to share where we're at, like what our life is like, because I also don't, like I have one particular child who wants less than others, and I'm like, do people just think I don't spend time with her or love her? Like,
Right, right, right.
prefers less pictures. And so trying to find the balance of that um, as well. But I also do find stories to be a safer place because it's quick. It's you know what I mean. Like I know exactly who's
Yes, yes, yes.
and then it keeps that more consistent. But I totally hear you on that, Christine, and that's like finding the balance. But even like being artsy fartsy by like taking pictures of our feet together or whatever, kind of
Yes.
saying like different ways to share what's going on in your life without breaking that.
That's what I've been really focusing on. So I love that we can talk about it because I'm like, okay, I want to share my life. I want it to be where moms feel safe and they can talk to us and they can, relate deeply. But then I'm like, okay, I'll make sure I'm not doing anything to violate what anyone wants. So yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate hearing from you both.
It is so hard because when they're little, it's like everyone's talking about the same stuff, right? It's like diapers and whatever, toddler tantrum. That's just so much easier, and I've definitely found it's harder to share. And I think there's a way we can all do it, but it's definitely takes more more intention, and it's frustrating, right? Like when your kids like don't post, and I sometimes will get mad, and I'm like, oh, this is why I can never get work done because you guys want me. It's just like a whole thing. So, yeah, I can totally relate to that. Okay, where do you want me to pick up
So I think,
here?
I mean, we talked a little bit about the trust piece. I mean, how much, so I guess I would say a lot of our team does use Facebook more than Instagram. That our
Mhm.
team, but I think a lot of these principles still apply. I think a lot of our team is I think we have the growth perspective to be able to show up on Instagram to more people. But so much of our social media presence also is like, I met this person at the gym. Now they follow me on Facebook. Then they saw that I posted about the protein shake. They asked me to bring a protein shake too. But again, I think that goes back to you're still building that online trust, like you talked about. You're still building that the piece. We talked about your personal story, that you're sharing that. But I think too, I think being vulnerable, like you said about our own, like we can be vulnerable about our own selves. I get much more traction when I share about my own stuff than even about my kids' stuff. Although, like,
Yes, yeah.
like you can take a picture of yourself at a baseball game and talk about being a sports mom. And so, but again, some of those things. But I think too, going back to consistency,
Mhm.
so I think like and unless there's something else you want to cover in terms of building that
Oh,
trust, the importance of building the trust, and then but even just talking about consistency and what that looks like um, when you're wanting to build your client base, because that we
mhm.
have to be consistent in certain things if we want it to be impactful. I mean, sometimes I'm shocked. I had one lady who was in my Bible study, and we've been friends on Facebook for a year, be like, do you have any like vitamins you recommend?
Right, right.
Yes. Yes, I do.
That's so
Like
funny.
so I'm like maybe I'm not sure, you know what I mean? So again, we need to talk about stories. And stories is
Mhm.
in both, and I think that flows into consistency. So what are your main recommendations when it comes to stories?
Yeah, can you go to the net, like go through the next few slides here? Because I have some examples for stories. So, okay, so yeah, you can start here
Oh,
with the Be Real. The Be Real
okay.
thing is either one, or yeah, either one. This one is just basically like a reminder of like be real on your stories. I think that's the biggest thing. That's the biggest reason why our team sells a lot on stories is because we don't pretend to have it all together. We don't pretend to be the expert. We're just like moms who are figuring out problems like or solutions to our problems and then we're just sharing them, but we're not afraid to be like, yeah, this was really hard, or oh my gosh, like whatever. Like my biggest tip with stories is don't waste so much time trying to redo them and re-record them. And then all of a sudden you're like, I've spent an hour trying to upload 4 stories. Like, don't do that because the reality is people want the real anyway. Like they would much rather you post a story and you mess it up and you're just yourself. Christine, that's what I love about you. Like whenever I see you, you're just like so real, right? Like I think that's why people love you because you're just so relatable. And I
Are
think
you are
that,
you talking to me?
yeah, oh yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm shocked because I feel like I'm so bad at social, but I guess I just don't spend more than 2 minutes doing any stories. So there's one good thing about me.
Yeah, it's good. It's like just being yourself, I think is key. And Okay, you can go to the next one. The next slide. So yeah, these are just like some examples. So I think the key to Facebook's or to Instagram stories, and then I always like, so it sounds like you guys are probably the reverse where you're like, you start on Facebook, you share everything to Instagram.
Well, I mean,
I like,
on stories, I usually recommend people post it on Instagram and share it to to Facebook.
okay, perfect. Okay, perfect. Yeah,
But I'm just
that's,
saying in terms of posts and presence, there
yes.
may be more people who are more posting and present on Facebook. But in terms of stories, like I feel like most people are posting on Instagram stories and flowing them to Facebook as well, but very present on Instagram stories more than anyway. But both and we need to grow in that area. But this is helpful.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so that's what we do too is we just have our like the setting on Instagram set up to automatically, share to Facebook stories. So like mine is set up to share to my like page. Some people have it set up to their personal profile, like whatever you feel like is going to get you the most traction. Um, but these are some examples, and I think the key is really to have a mix of everything because you don't want it to, again, just be Shackley, but you also don't want it to just be life. So these are some examples like sharing, what your family is up to throughout the day, just relatable stuff because what you want is for people to go, oh yeah, she's got a life just like mine. Like we do that kind of stuff too. Sharing your daily routine, especially like in the wellness space, to share what do you do? Like I loved Harper did this the other day, where she shared all of the supplements that she used every single like throughout the whole day, all the Shackley stuff, and I was like blown away. I was like, okay, I'm writing all this stuff down, right? Because I'm like Harper knows all these things, like I need to know what she's doing. So that kind of thing, right? And I think doing that every once in a while is so key. Stuff like that, when you do a day like that put that in put that in a highlight on Instagram so that way people can kind of go back and like look at it even after those 24 hours expire. So daily routine, but yeah, with the consistency piece, and like I said, we lead with certain products. It is a daily thing. I mean, you really have to share stuff daily, not just once a week. But yeah, also sharing like workouts so people know she's someone that works out. How you use the Shackley products throughout the day. We talked about that. And then this is maybe the biggest one is talking into your stories. I know that this can be really like kind of scary at first to talk into your stories, but it will move your business forward so much faster because it'll allow you to build trust so much faster with people. Because if you're just taking photos of random things, like even if you just take a photo of your product, it doesn't really get it doesn't get the emotional side of it. Or if you're just posting a photo of your kids, like it doesn't bring it home. But if you're going into your stories and talking into your stories, it connects with people. And so, whether that's sharing about Shackley or something totally different, like if something random happens throughout your day, share that, right? Like, share whatever happens, like, and talking into your story because then people will understand who you are in just a much, like, I don't know, they'll just connect more that way. But with that said too, like if you can do that while you're using a Shackley product, that's better. So like sometimes I'll do it while I'm mixing up my build after my workout, or sometimes I'll do it when I'm doing my skincare routine. Typically, I don't like to and I'm not the best at this because sometimes I go on and on, but I try to not talk more than 4 slides in a row because I think you lose a lot of people after that. But sometimes I have a lot to say and I'm like, you know what, screw it, I'm gonna keep going, and whoever sticks with me, they're gonna be the ones that buy anyway, so whatever. So it's not, again, it doesn't have to be perfect, but I think 4 in a row is kind of like no more than that. Sharing encouragement, sharing Bible verses, something like that is good to have in your stories. Um, making your life shake. Now we have the protein tracker, so you could share that. Behind the scenes working, like if you're working at your computer, sharing a photo of that or a video of that. Skincare routine, just relatable real life stuff. And then, oh, this is a really good one. So, random polls have really helped me to build connections and conversations. So, random polls about, I mean, let me come up with an example. Oh, this was one I did the other day because my kids are like into this boba tea craze, and I was like really like annoyed by it, whatever. But I was curious because I was just curious who's like other moms that have kids into boba. So I just did a poll when we were there and I just said, are your kids into this? Yes or no? And then you get people that answer, and then that's a great way for you to just start a conversation. So I think if you can consistently do that, you'll be surprised at how your conversations will start. Like you'll start a lot of conversations. But so let's just say someone responds to the poll and they're like, "Yep, my kids are into that too." Then I would just send a message and I'd be like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so glad I'm not alone in this whole boba thing. Like it is, I can't believe what they charge for these things." Like something like that, and just to relate. And that's it. I'm not gonna ask them to buy Shackley. I'm not gonna ask them about anything else. I'm like, that is legit it. And you would be surprised if you do that consistently. Those are the people that end up then buying later down the road as they continue to build trust with you. And like the people that say no, I might say, "Oh, you're so lucky that your kids don't like this stuff because there's too much sugar, it's so expensive, yada yada, all that stuff." So just like those are the conversations, but it can be a random poll literally about anything, like do you drink coffee or not, like whatever. And do those consistently because it helps the algorithm because then you're having all these conversations and that just helps more reach and things like that. So random polls are great, and it also conditions them to respond to polls. So then when you're asking about a product at Shackley, or you're like, let me know what you want, like whatever it is you're selling, you can add a poll, and it's not weird to them to click on a poll because they're used to doing that with you already. So it's not as scary for them to reach out to you. So I think polls are definitely huge. Also, lately I've been liking that little swipey feature thing because it's easy. It's even easier than a poll for people to swipe if they're interested in more information or even a random question like that too. But if you want to go to the next couple slides, those are just some like examples
And
too.
then you were talking about following up with people on stories.
Oh, yep. So
So
like let's say too.
polls
So
was an example, but in other things.
yeah, so okay, so you know how you can see the list of who watches your stories,
Yeah.
like at least for 24 hours? So that really is the list that we use to invite. So, we're looking at that list every single day. The people that watch your stories consistently, they are invested in you, they care, and they like won't be annoyed if you ask them if they're interested. So those are really the people that we're asking, like, okay, if we're doing a protein challenge or if we're doing a vitamin challenge, like we're sending those people messages because it doesn't feel like a cold reach out because they're already watching our stuff all the time. So the first step would be like, send them an invitation. And they might say yes or no. Most people ghost you, like just know that that's normal. Like I think that's a big learning curve too of like on Instagram, a lot of new ambassadors, they get so discouraged because they'll do that and they don't get any response. And I'm like, it's okay. Like that's totally normal. Most people won't care, but that you sent them a message. Some people will say no, whatever. You very rarely are going to get on that first contact. There's like very rarely will they say yes. Maybe like then that's lucky, right? But like that's just not exactly how it goes. Like it takes a lot of exposure. It takes a lot of like touch points before someone really are like, yeah, I want to order. So don't be afraid of that gritty work, like behind the scenes to invite them. And then the follow-up would be like the next month, if you have an event, be like, hey, I have this protein challenge going on. Maybe, and I love this line. I always say like, maybe you already have a great routine for protein and like how you get that in throughout the day. If not, if you're like me, always kind of trying to look for new ideas, I'd love to have you in this protein challenge. Like any interest, totally free, whatever. Like just using the same language that you would use in everyday life in these messages so it doesn't feel like you're just like copy pasting everything. And also like if I'm messaging someone and we have those previous conversations, it's really easy on Instagram to go back and be like, what have we talked about before? And how can I bring that into the conversation and things like that. Um, but yeah, that's kind of how we do the follow-ups is it's really mostly the people that are watching our stories. So yeah, some examples. Yeah, you can see I just kind of have a mix of stuff with my families. Like this one was talking into my stories about washing produce with Basic H. You can go to the next one. And then this is like an example of I made these like protein bites and I just shared how I was making them. I shared too, though, again, always connect first. So it's not just like, hey, I'm making these protein bites for my family. It's why are you making it? Oh, it's because my kids have been asking for dessert every single night and I can't keep making them cookies every single night. So we got to figure out something healthier. So that's how I started that conversation is like, who else has kids asking for dessert every night in the summer? And then that creates a connection. And then I share, the protein. And then this would be something too that you could like invite at the end, do a call to action for your protein challenge or whatever. Um, okay, that's any other, let me see if there's questions on stories up here. What would you say what would you ask a team member who feels they're being consistent on social and sharing a variety of things, but they don't feel like they're converting sales? I would ask about their consistency with talking into their stories and actually having behind the scenes conversations because, and everyone's different, but the reality is posting and sharing, it won't increase your sales tier. It helps, but it's really that behind the scenes invitation, follow up. Like, I don't think people understand how much work goes into that whole thing, right? It's like that's the stuff that never shows up on your stories. Like people don't like my girls so the ones that have hit the 75 and then last month we had two people hit the $10,000 tier. They're just not afraid to get in the weeds with those messages and they just keep doing that over and over. But I think that sometimes the missing link is like like a connection. Like, do they feel like they can connect to you, or does it feel a little bit robotic, like with how you're sharing things sometimes? Um, is there any hack for getting polls links to work right when you post from Instagram and and flow over? I have not found that to be like easy. A lot of times links won't work if you share to Facebook. I don't really worry about that because most of my sales come from Instagram. If you are, I would reshare it for sure because I have not found that it like even polls sometimes, yeah, they don't work on when they share to Facebook. Yeah, so it's basically just like maybe you already have a great routine for or maybe you already have a great way to get your protein in, or maybe you're in a really, if it's workouts, it's like maybe you are already in a really good groove with your workouts, but if not, or if you're looking for new ideas like I am, like that kind of thing. Because I never want people to assume that like I have all the answers and they're failing, in their fitness journey or anything like that. It's more just like, hey, are you open to more information or maybe more ways to do this? Um, yeah. Okay, yeah, we kind of talked about this already, the feed posts. But that's just like what I was sharing, the lead generator post that we do twice a week. And then you can go to the next one. Oh yeah, we just talked about that. So invites and follow-ups. So this would be like an example. But again, like always, like I'll share scripts with my team, but I'm like, always put it in your own words, how you would actually talk, because people can tell. Also, voice messages, I think they really resonate more. Just, they can hear your voice when you invite too. So I think those are big. Okay, and then the next one. So free group. So we do all have on our team like free groups on Facebook. That we try to post. This is more like the unfiltered post as much Shackley as you possibly want. Don't think about a strategy. Just like the people that have opted into that group, they want more information about Shackley. They've told you that at one point. So like that's where I share more of like the graphics from Shackley, or I'll do like my live videos where I unbox my products, things like that. But it's more just like a behind the scenes kind of group for Shackley. And then
That's where you do your unboxings.
yes, yes, is in there. And if you
That's
go to the next one or the
really
two
great
over,
to know. I like that.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, sometimes I'll do them on my stories too, but I do feel like those move the needle. Like what I well, and mostly for customer retention, I feel like the unboxing too, because I mean, I have people in there that aren't customers too, but I find that whenever I do an unboxing in there, then that's what my customers add to their orders like the next month or whatever.
That's so smart. I love that.
And then if you want to go to the examples one, the next one, yeah. So these are just like events, just ideas. And I know your team does this kind of stuff all the time. Educational events or just different challenges. So kind of depending. We do like some educational events where we educate and then ask them to buy. Other times we do challenges where we're like, hey, we're going to do a 30-day vitamin challenge, starting on this date. So you have to order by this date. And I feel like whatever it is, the reason why these things are so important is just because it creates a sense of urgency, right? Because it's like people want to join then because you have something that they want to participate in. So that's really the key there is just that. I'm trying to think of our most successful ones would be oh yeah, Hey Girl, Take Your Vitamins. That one has been working really well for just people that want consistency with vitamins because they aren't the best at taking them on their own. So we just have like a messenger chat. One of my girls has been doing this for months and her customer retention is so high because of it, but they just pop in there and like share that they take their vitamins every day. But it's just kind of a fun way to position that. But yeah, I think that's about it.
Amber, so
From
it's just a messenger group where he's just encouraging people to take their vitamins once they order from her.
Yeah, that's literally all they do. It's very simple. They just are in a messenger chat and she has like a new start date every month and they just post their vitamins, but then she will pop in there like, hey, join this skincare event. Hey, do this, so like it helps with customer retention too. But yeah, she's like, that's going so, she just told me that again yesterday. She's like, that has been so key because people actually remember their vitamins and then, they stay on loyalty or whatever.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Does anybody else have any other questions, specific questions while we have Amber for a few more minutes? Yes. So this is a huge thing, Brianna, is helping people be consistent because then they keep their loyalty. So maybe setting up something like that would be good for your people. I definitely think that would be something individual, not like to do it for us to do as a group. But or even like, you and one other person. But I think helping people again, it goes back to what I was saying on stage two, is that when we help people be consistent, they're better customers. It's better for our business, but that's so they get healthy too. So wanting people to say, hey, listen, I want you to get the most out of what you already bought. Um, let's help you figure out a way to be consistent. So if trying a messenger thread or something like that would be valuable, that's a great thing to try, because if we can help people be consistent, they're going to feel better. They're going to get better results and they're going to continue being customers. So I think that's huge.
hmm Yeah, and I think too, just making it like a little like the products that like get at least for what I found when it comes to Star Club and getting new people, it's the products that are unique to Shackley. So it's the products that they can't get somewhere else, which is like Meology is really great for that because it's like you can't, I mean, I know that there's other personalized vitamin companies, but I don't think anyone does it as well as Shackley with the clinical proof and things. And then the other one is for us has been the ageless wands because again, even if people have a skincare routine, they don't have the wands. They can't get those anywhere else. So it helps them to like try one thing from Shackley and then they get in the door with that. I think another reason the Botox ones are we call them natural Botox one. The reason why those are so successful for us is because it's such an impulse buy for people. It's an emotional impulse buy because everyone around our age is noticing their wrinkles and they're like, dang it, I don't want to have wrinkles. So it's like if you can talk about that one a lot, I think it gets them in the door. I feel like the products that are a little trickier to start new customers on is like the protein because there's so many protein options. And so like to get a new customer with protein has been more difficult for me, but if I start them on something else, I have no problem switching them to our protein. Once they see the value of Shackley and like, how high our standards are, then they're like, "Oh, okay, I can like wrap my head around it." But starting them with something that they can get so many other places has been more, I've found to be a little bit more challenging.
Well, I think that's interesting because I start a lot of people with protein.
Do
So,
you?
like, especially like Ready Set Wellness, but protein a lot. But again, I think figuring out, like you said, lead with your passion, lead with what works for you,
Right.
not feeling like you have to start with everything, but figuring out um, what that conversation starter is that makes sense for you, and being okay with it that it's different than someone else's.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I love that idea, like, of figuring that out, and speaking into that, and having a place that you tend to lead from, and then going
Right.
from there, for sure. But that
Yeah.
is an investment too, investing in that continuing conversation, which is a lot of what I talked about. Is it when we continue to educate them, because, like you said, you get them in the door with this, you tell them about Shackley, now they're like, oh, I trust that your protein more than others, and so.
Yes. Yes. Yes, exactly. Like, yeah, like you said, whatever sales is just about confidence, right? So it's like whatever you're most confident in selling to get someone in the door, like that is, that's key for sure.
It's going to show up, because I think too, like for me personally, I don't like, it's interesting because people tell me that I have great skin all the time and I don't wear any makeup and I've never had Botox or anything like that, but people tell me all the time. But I still don't like, I feel awkward talking about skincare on social media. I just don't feel like it's my jam. And so
Yeah.
I do talk about it sometimes, but most of the time I feel the most comfortable talking about vitamins and protein. But I do feel like, exactly you said, but when that confidence comes in, that's more of what I sell. And
Yeah.
so I
So
think
true.
that is so true, that where do you feel confident talking
Mhm.
about, and not feeling like you have to do what anybody else is doing. I have one more quick question if no one else has them. So you talked about highlights. Do you
Oh,
find that
yeah.
those are really valuable?
Yeah, I will say like I'm not a pro. I need to get better at it. But I am like whenever I do that, especially like business stuff, like I'm shocked at the amount of people that will reply to a story in my highlight about the business or about a product. Like just random. I'm not saying it happens every single day, but I think that people, if they really want to like dig and they will go there, and they will look at some of your stuff. Um,
Well, and
I just,
people do want to dig sometimes before they talk to you. Like,
right,
even
right,
I talked to a woman at soccer, who I've known for a long time, but she was like, she said something about, again, someone I've known for a long time. We do a lot of stuff together. She's followed me on social, and she didn't really exactly know what I did. And I was like, feel like that's not good. But all that to say, she was like, you know what your company should make? They should make a pill for those of us who are going through perimenopause. And I'm like, we do. Anyway, so we started talking about it, and we started talking about protein and all these different things. And then I was like, well, let's chat. And so then when we finally got on the phone, she had done her research. And I
wow,
think when we so I totally, so like I struggled with the highlight. I had highlights a long time ago and I deleted them all because they were so old. And I was like,
right,
I'll do that again. But I think that you make a good point, because if you give them here's the research, here it is right here, like, and make that accessible to them, then it's easier for them to find and they can go through that. So I think that's
right.
okay. That's very valuable. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, it's not like bringing in loads of sales, but I think when people are digging, it's good to, like I love stories, but I kind of hate that they disappear so quickly. So it's like a catch 22, I guess.
It is. Okay, does anybody else, I want to let Amber go. Does anybody else have one last question, or do y'all just want to say thank you so much for,
Yeah, thank you for having me. This was so fun.
it was so helpful. I feel like so many people just want to grow in this area and want to grow from someone like another regular person. Like you said, like, our team resonates with regular. Who else is a regular person? Like, we are all just regular people. We are not major influencers on social media. So I love hearing what 100% regular Sarah said. Um, but I just resonate with what you said. I resonate with what you shared, and people really came away from what you shared at conference, um, really inspired. And like you said, like going from like, oh, I could never get to the 40% to, okay, I can start working towards there. And we're going to be having a challenge coming up on our team to grow our sales volume. So this was a great way to kick that off with just some tools in terms of how to do that on social media. So thank you so much for
Oh,
your time.
yeah, thank you, Harper. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
See you later.